Hello, Facebook. I'm at the park, as you can see. Much needed nature time. Much needed nature time, much needed yin recovery for myself, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. I was a little hesitant about what I placed on top of the description. It's like, I don't know if I really want to talk. I'm not talking about business. Obviously not. It's not my area of expertise at all. That is not what I desire. But I feel like it's more about any sort of expansion, really. And because I am a woman that is teaching about feminine embodiment, I think it's still important that I stay connected to my feminine in my business as I'm growing my business, as I'm running my business, as to however much I want to grow it, right? So I was a little hesitant about writing that at the top, but I just want to share my experience the past few days, and also how I ask and have support from my partner, because these last few days have been very fiery within myself, and I don't want to pour that on to Ron, nor should I expect him to be okay with that, right? And it's important how we communicate to our partners to receive the support that we want, so that we're not feeling alone and we are feeling supported throughout the entire time. So I'm just going to go ahead and run with this. This feels extremely edgy for me, like extremely, but I'm going to go with it. This is a 365 days that I'm talking about here. And I can feel in my muscles everywhere, like tightness in my neck, like this heavy sensations in my body. So I'm like, oh my God, why did I title that? But when I dropped into my womb, it was just like, talk about this. Because she said, talk about this. And this is what's really true right now. And I do want to speak more about relationships, right? That's my area of expertise. That's my area of that. But I'm also a woman who's running a business, who's desiring to expand it and to have the type of expansion that's feminine embodied and not this like masculine thing. So if I can offer any little wisdom with what I'm currently going through, with where you are, and how, I think that's great. I think that's great. Like I said, this is so edgy for me. And I could totally just take this down and talk about something else. But I'm going to listen to my womb. I'm going to listen to that. Like as soon as I drop down, like, oof, this is what came up. So let's start with the fact that destruction, when feminine is in a destructive phase, it's because she is needing space to birth something new. And I was in a heavy destructive mode the past couple days. I wanted to just burn it all down to the ground. I wanted to burn it all down. I wanted to run away. I wanted to also literally light the shit on fire and dance around in the fire, figuratively speaking, but that's what I felt like. If I could imagine something in my mind, it would be like a bonfire, putting everything in there and giving myself complete space, because I am wanting to birth something new. And my feminine desired rest, and I did not give it to her. I wanted rest. After the launch of Dripping Pleasure, something in there said, I feel like I really need to rest. I feel like I really need to give myself like a couple of days. Did I listen? No, I did not. Therefore, this desire for rest started, and my feminine started to get, I guess, angry, right? Because I'm not giving her what she needs. I'm deciding to masculine my way through. And with that came the desire to not be around anybody, to be very in my head and not in my body. And when that happens, it is like it's turmoil, it's inner conflict. It is, I don't know what to do. Somebody tell me what to do, but I don't want you to tell me what to do because I know what I need to do. I'm my own boss. Don't tell me what to do, right? So it's this complete place of like, girl, you need to play with that fire and, within you, and create the space that you want. Because I am going to be birthing a new masterclass, and I haven't given, it's the better word, I have not given my time to sit and to write it down and to create. And I've been in this very masculine head of how fast I need to launch things, how fast I need to go from one thing to the other. And because I'm in this masculine space in my mind, and because I've started to live my life in a way that if I am too much, I don't know if I started to live my life in a way. I think the better word is I started to live my life with truth. And I've noticed that when I've lived my life more in a head way, I get the extreme opposite result of what I desire. The extreme opposite. And that I have had to learn to slow down. And I'm continuing to learn to slow down, which is what I'm like being initiated right now in the past couple months, is like slow down and be okay with taking the adequate time that you need to really perfect in a way that you are so in love with what you're offering that you cannot wait to launch it because you worked on it and you've felt into it and all the things, right? But in my mind, I have this idea of what everyone else is doing and how fast they're launching things, right? So obviously this is about me learning to learn my own feminine, my own body, and how my energy works. So this feminine destructiveness was like telling me you need to create space. You need to create space. Give yourself a day, an unapologetic couple of days where you're just like, I'm going to be in my creational vortex. I'm going to nurture her. I'm going to burn it down, not burn it down, but do my own alchemy, all of those things. So last night I had a really weird dream. No, it wasn't even a dream. It was that phase where you are in, I can't remember what brain wave it is, but it's before you fall asleep, but you're not asleep yet. It's right before, and you're not awake. So it's like that in-between phase of when you're falling asleep and waking up. I'm sorry, the in-between phase of falling asleep and not being fully asleep. Wait, whatever, you get what I'm saying. So it was some chitter chatter before, and then it was, what are you expanding into? Or what am I expanding into? Or something like that. What are you expanding into? Or what am I expanding into? And I saw a vision of my face. And it was like God, I guess, or divine intervention. I don't know. I never work in those realms, because working in those realms actually make it very difficult for me to fall asleep when I intentionally do that. So this was an interesting thing that happened to me. And it felt like a divine intervention from my soul, from God, to pay attention to what I'm expanding into. Like, what are you expanding into? Or I was asking God, what am I expanding into? I am not sure, because I've never had any experience of that, like that in my life. So when I like woke up, right, and I was like, okay, that was really interesting. I was like, what am I expanding into? And I came to the park today to give myself that yin space, that recovery face that my feminine needs, that place of like, okay, step into my body, drop down into my body. And I started to feel more into it. And what is coming is that there needs to be more masculine codes. I need to there's initiation into the next level of masculine codes to hold the expansion of what I'm going into. Do you get what I'm saying? Because if there's no frame, the expansion will not hold, it will collapse. Which is what I'm feeling. Which is what I'm feeling these past few days with this destruction energy, this collapse energy, because there isn't a strong masculine frame to support that expansion. That's what I'm feeling with what happened. And I had a couple of dreams, like actual dreams. This isn't the pseudo phase of like you're not asleep, but you're not awake, in between phase, where it was about the very first dream was about something as to why I didn't create what I wanted to create in 2023, something around that. Then what I really remember is that I said, and this year I'm going to create what I want, or something like that. Or this year I can't have it written down I have to go back and look at it to see exactly what I said. Because I've been starting to write down my dreams, especially these types of dreams that I feel are my subconscious wanting to communicate with me. And these are all in the past week, because it started on the 21st. So these are all things that have been happening in the past week. And then the next dream was about me having a yoni de-armoring or cervical de-armoring or cervical climax type of section of session practice with a yoni wand. So there's definitely is some expansion here. So what I want to give to you in this is to, in any area of your life, because even if you are not in business, and if you are in a career, or if you're a career and you're a mother and all these things, is we have to make sure that we're giving our bodies the rest that we need when we ask for it. And don't be scared to use your sick time, to use your PTO, to use a family leave, right? And say, and to listen to your body and take that day off. I know so many hardworking people who do not take advantage of these corporate offerings that you get, or government offerings that you get, because no, I need to show up. They don't care. I'm going to be honest with you. Most companies don't care. Like, they don't care necessarily about, I don't know if I want to say that. That's not the right thing I want to say. We do not honor ourselves and put ourselves first because we need to be a good worker, especially as women. I will not take time off of work because I need to show up for work. Actually, of course, if there's a deadline or something like that, okay, maybe that's different. But if there's honestly that a day that is just a normal day, take the day off. Take care of yourself. Take advantage of those sick days, of those things, because let me tell you, when my man decided to retire early, it's like a semi-retirement because of how many years he's in, because he's shifting over here, he didn't get any of that money of the working hours that he put in, of the unused sick days. He got none of that back. And I think only if you fully retired, you get like a third paid as a check, right? And it's like, if your body's asking for it now, why not listen to your body and give her what she needs, or else she is going to destroy, is the concept of this conversation. And she's gonna, if you're not conscious of that, you're going to project that on your man. You're going to project that onto your employees, your coworkers, onto your children, onto yourself, right? You're going to start saying negative shit about yourself. Like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you get this together? Why can't you think straight? Right? Which is where I kind of was in the past few days. I was like, oh my God, I feel God. Right? And I had enough emotional intelligence to realize, God, take the wheel. I surrender. Guide me. And when in that moment that I felt that surrender, I was guided to drop down into my body, which is what I talked about yesterday. I felt so much better. And it reminded me of how I was ignoring my feminine and not giving her the space that she needs to birth something new, right? Because we as women, we're always birthing something new. It doesn't matter what it is. We are constantly birthing something new. Plus, I'm about to get my period soon, so of course that plays a role. So there's a lot of symbolism here with what's happening with me in my current life. Let me see something. Just had some notes because I wanted to make sure I talked about everything. So there's a lot of symbolism that's happening personally for me. But what I want you to take home with this is that when you are expanding, you need to give yourself space. When you are expanding in your relationship, when you are expanding in your career, when you are expanding as a mother, when you are expanding in your creativity, it doesn't matter. You need to give yourself space for the death and then for the rebirth to happen. If you do not give yourself the space, you're going to be in that destructive inner conflict collapse, and it's going to take you a lot longer to get out of that, right? Because if you don't realize that, oh shit, I'm in this, or like it's taking me a little bit longer than it should have, or you're just really going to really elongate that next level of expansion that you're looking into. So I'm really excited to see what's happening here. There's definitely are some codes of not only just the masculine to hold me and to have a better frame, but also my own understanding of how my creative genius works, which is more time, more space. And that's very, like I can feel it in my body. It is very uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable, because of the anxiety of I need to do this now, or like the revenue that I want to bring in for myself for this month, it won't happen. It's going to take too long for me to bring in, like it's always money related. It's money scarcity related. And versus, okay, I know I need to take longer to create this, so I need to have different systems set up, which is why I have a business mentor to help me with that, which I did. Okay, let's move on to subject. I don't really want to talk about that anymore because I'm not a business coach, and I'm nowhere near qualified to be teaching on business. I just wanted to share my own process and how to stay my feminine embodiment so that I don't get into my masculine and then start to feel drained and hateful, which is taking the rest when I need to, right? Which is I'm starting to set that myself up. I think I'm going to do that next week. I'm going to do Thursday and Friday off. I'm unapologetic. I'm going to get a massage. I'm going to dance. Tomorrow I'm going to do my feminine. I'm going to give myself like a lot of time for my feminine practices, and keep my post very simple and not think too much into these things. Like I have a manifestation ceremony that I'm giving on Friday, and whatever, it doesn't matter. So let's move on. Okay, Ron. How do I ask for support from Ron during this time? I really allow his masculine frame to hold me. I really come to him as a woman, a feminine woman, I get very clear on what I need from him. Like if I need him to just hug me and hold me and tell me that everything's going to be okay, I will tell him, can you please hug me and hold me and tell me that everything's going to be okay? This is what I know what I need. If I don't know what I need, then I'll share that with him. But I don't expect him to try to figure it out unless he takes, meaning like, I don't expect him to try to figure it out. Sometimes it's just enough for him to hold space and be like, I'm here for you. And I invite him into my world and into my darkness. I allow him into my darkness. As a woman who's holding the feminine embodied frame, polarity, it is so important to invite your man into your heart so that he can lead, so that he can protect, so that he can give his provision and insight. Provision is not just taking care of material things. Provision is his vision, his actual vision, his insight. Men are very smart. Men have so many beautiful strengths that women have colluded that men don't have these types of strengths and insights, but they actually do if we allow them and if we can surrender into them, right? So I have to be very clear on myself of where, if I have very squeaky clean on what I want from him and not put any type of subtle energetic behind it, that it's about resentment or anything like that, or attacking him because I'm angry at what's happening, or because I'm frustrated, right? And a lot of women want to trauma project on their partners and expect their partners to just take it or to be soft and receptive to that. They're not going to be soft and receptive if you are attacking them. You can't expect a man to have no armor on when you are armored up, when you have a sword in your hand. Like, it's not fair. It really isn't. And you're expecting the impossible from somebody, from a man especially. So I make sure that I'm squeaky clean and that I'm really, really clear that I'm not wanting him to fix me. I'm not going to him to be difficult. That I'm really going to him to be held and loved and be clear on that, on what I want and need. And then if I'm not, then just don't really expect much, but don't project on them. So that's how I really allow Ron to support me. It's just like really allowing him to be my spine, like to really lean back, like really lean back on him, and allow myself to cry in front of him, allow myself to be like this vulnerable woman with him. Because the more I'm in my vulnerability, the more that erects the masculine, the more that he rises up into his madness as you descend into your womanness. So that's what I have to say today. I hope that I provided some insight, and that was really stretchy and edgy for me to even put that in the description. It's a lot. But that's what I'm currently going through. That's my process. And I definitely am committed to staying in my feminine embodiment, although I know that when you are running a business, you have to have masculine codes. You cannot run a business if you do not have masculine codes, because you are birthing a third thing into the world, which requires a masculine seed and a feminine wound to birth the business, right? So you need these two things. So I wanted to provide some insight on that, because creational codes are very interchangeable between man and woman and between a business, right? Like it's really not any different. So, yeah. All right. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 40. And then count down for day 50.